fact, the Indian Council for Cultural Research, ICCR, is hosting his visit to India under the Council's Distinguished Visitors Program. With him is his companion, Mr. Haval Abubaker.
Thank you so much.
I request Dr. K. Sulaimaniah, respected Secretary, Sahitya Akademi, to welcome Dr. Haval Abubaker and Mr. Haval Abubaker, following the Academy's tradition by offering Angavastam and presenting Sahitya Akademi publications. I request Professor Indranath Chaudhary sir also to join the Secretary.
The logo of Sulaimaniah government is Kurdistan, and it's a sweet from local handmade people in Sweden, so I just provide clothes.
I request Honorable Pathak sir to also felicitate our respected guests. Thanks a lot, Honorable Shri Lingeshwar Pathak. Now I request Dr. K. Srinivas Rauji to formally deliver welcome address.
Thank you, Krishna. Dear Dr. Haval Abubaker, Governor of Sulaimaniah in Kurdistan, Autonomous Region of Iraq, Mr. Haval Abubaker Hussein, also from Iraq, the officials of ICCR, respected Professor Indranath Chaudhary, former Secretary Sahitya Akademi, the scholars and writers who are assembled here, and friends of Sahitya Akademi. I am glad to welcome all of you for today's interaction between Dr. Abubaker and writers and scholars of Delhi. Friends, Iraqi literature is very ancient from the times of early Sumerian literature, and from the time we have witnessed the creation of literary masterpieces pertaining to cosmogenesis, anthropology, religious teachings, moral treatises, astrology, legislation, history, poetry, wars, etc. Akkadian literature also produced similar works. So, when we talk of the history of literature from Iraq, we have to go that far back in history, and that in itself is one fascinating journey. In the Islamic Golden Age, extraordinary scholars such as Al-Jahiz and Omar Khayyam. The same tradition has been continued till the modern period. In the modern period too, one can see a variety of distinguished writers, poets and critics. Of course, there is Iraqi exile literature too. Talking of early Iraqi literature, Sahitya Akademi has published in few Indian languages recognized by it the Epic of Gilgamesh. Of the contemporary writers, we all have heard about Luya Hamaj Abbas, Hassan Blasim, Bedul Kedare, Ahmad Sadawi, and a number of other eminent writers and poets. I request Dr. Haval Abubaker to throw more light on contemporary Iraqi writers who are based in Iraq and their works. I have also been given to understand that Dr. Haval Abubaker is an avid fan of Indian art and Indian literature. We will be very happy to hear more about that also. All in all, it is our pleasure to host Dr. Haval Abubaker today for this interaction with eminent writers and scholars from Delhi. Governor Abubaker has PhD in modern literature and journalism, and the area of his research was the position of romanticism in Kurdish poetry. Dr. Abubaker has about 28 publications to
پێشوازی و ئامادەبوون و هەموو ئەو دیاری و بەخشانی بەڕێزانەکەی. On behalf of my country and my region, Kurdistan region, and my governor, Sulaimaniah governor, I heartily thank your Excellency's presence, your gifts, and in the long history as well. In a very critical time that the world passes right now, بازرگانی مواد مخدر سیستمی خوصبین تیرور کرونا بیسکردنی جنگا سیستمی گندال بروکی به همون رفاقتی گرتوه in a critical time that right now self-interestedness, war, drug abuse, pollution, oppressive political systems, terror, and coronavirus and corruption has afflicted the whole world. Human being has become or shifted from owning and leading the world into a kind of good or product in the market. All these have estranged human being from himself, herself. This is not the hopelessness frustration, but this is the reality that we are seeing right now.
ومێدەکان کە نیەشتۆ ئەمە هەموو شتە خراپانە ژیان لەمە خراپتر بێەوە ژیان بوەستی ئەوەیە.
And the hopes that have not led life to stop and to get much more deteriorated is that,
بدەمان جوانەکانن
are the beautiful aesthetic principles,
ئاینە
religion,
ئەدەبە
literature,
ئایدۆلۆژیایە
ideology,
ئەندێشەیە
imagination,
پەیوەندی ئینسانیەکانە
human relations,
کەلتورە
culture,
ئەفسانەیە
legends, epics,
توانیوێتی ڕۆحی ئینسان ڕابگرێت.
that could preserve human soul so far.
ئێستا جەنگی جیهانی لە جەنگی جیهانی سێم لە جیهانە گوزەرێت.
Right now, we are seeing in the world the third world war, actually.
بە چاوی خۆمان کوشتنی ئینسان و تێکدانی ژینگە و سروش دەبینین.
We are, in a daily basis, eyewitnessing human killing, human murder, and deterioration of nature and such kinds of horrible things.
ئەنجامەکان پێمان دەڵێن ڕەوایەتەکانی شەڕ هەرچی بن ئەنجامەکەی ئەوەیە کە شەڕ ڕەوانیە.
The results are telling us whatever were the legitimacies or reasons behind war, it's not good.
شەڕەکان کێشەکان چارەسەر ناکەن گەورەترینان.
The wars are not solving the problems, but making them worse. ICCR, we are right now here in front of you.
ڕاست ئێمە لەگەڵ گامێش و خاڵەقی و تۆفانەوە لە سومەریەکانەوە تێکستی ئەدەبی نووسرا و داهێنەرانە سەرچاوەگرێت.
That's right, that our creative writing would go back to Gilgamesh, Khalaqi, the flood, the Sumerians,
بەڵام بەڕاستی ئێمە قەبزاری پانینی
but we owe a lot to Panini
کە زمانی وارێ کرد بتوانین گفتوگۆ لەگەڵێک بکەین
that could make language into a kind of instrument that we can understand each other,
نەوەکانمان فێرکەین.
to teach our offsprings,
ئەو پرۆسەیە لە پرۆسەی دەستەبژێرێک کۆبیکین بەهی هەموو بەشەریەت
to shift this process from a tool in the hand of elites into the hand of humanity at large.
جێخۆیەتی لەم مەجلیسە پیرۆزی ئێوە دروست بۆ پانینی بنێنین.
That's why I would like in your holy gathering right now to salute to Panini, actually.
و هەر کەسێکی ترکە وشەیەکی خستۆتە سەر فەرهەنگی مرۆڤایەتی.
And whoever that added one single word to the accumulation, cumulative products of human being.
لە پێشیشەوە ئێوەی بەڕێز و هەموو کتێب و بەرهەمە جوان و بەخشانەتان کە بینیمان و پێشکەشکرا.
And before that, your excellencies, all your products, your books that you have offered thankfully for us.
ئێمە لە کوردستانی عێراق ژین.
We live in Kurdistan.
کەمانێکێکە لە زمانە هیندۆ ئێرانیەکان و دوایی هیندۆ ئەوروپیەکان.
Our language is a sector of Indo-Iranian and later Indo-European languages
کە هەمومان لە گرامەر و لە دابینەکە
that provides life and livelihood to the whole globe.
بۆیە هونەر و کەلتوریش لەم ناوچانەوە سەرچاوی کردووە.
That's why arts and culture have emerged from these regions as well.
هەموو ڕاستیانی لە سەرەتاوە وتم کە هەڕەشە لە مرۆڤایەتیەکەن.
The whole realities that I present,
پەروەردە و کەلتورە.
what can bring and nurture that is education or art, education and culture.
پەروەردەش هەندێک کۆتەی کەلتورە.
And even education is one of the outcomes of culture as well.
بۆیە بەڕاستی ئێمە هەمومان لە پرۆسەیەکی گەردوونی گەورەی هەریشەکەین.
That's why we are all working in a universal process together,
کە کەلتوری هەمومان دەبێت تێکەڵاو بکەین.
that we have to mix and bring together our cultures,
چونکە لە بنەڕەتەوە هیچ دەتەوە و ئاین و مەسەبێکمان نی.
because from the beginning it was not only belonging to one single religion or nation or culture,
بەڵکوی مرۆڤایەتی
but it was for the humanity.
بۆ هەموو مرۆڤایەتیشە.
And it should be for humanity again.
بەم بڕایەوە هیوادارم هەمومان لەم جۆرە پەیوەندی و تێکەڵاوبوونانەیە بتوانین گەردوون بەرینە قۆناغی ئاشتی و لێبوردەیی و سەقامگیری و بژانەوە.
I hope with all these gatherings and intermingling our thoughts and cultures we will be able, and those relationships, we would be able finally to bring a step further humanity into peace and tolerance.
من دکتۆراکەم لە بواری ئەدەبی و ڕۆژنامەنگەری هاوچەرخا کردەوە و مامۆستای بەڕێزم فەرمووی.
My PhD was in literature and modern literature and journalism, as my beloved friend, as Excellency mentioned.
مامۆستا بوو لە دانشگای سلێمانی.
I have been teaching before at Sulaimaniah University.
فەرمووی ئێستاش لەو بوارەیە خەریکم.
And even right now, I'm still working in this field.
دراسی تەواوی هەموو ئەدەبی ڕۆمانتیکی ژیانیمان کردووە.
We studied the global romanticism.
هەمووی پێمانە سەرمێنی مرۆڤ چۆن لە ڕۆحی خۆیەوە نزیک بێ، چۆن لە سروشتەوە نزیک بێ، چۆن لە گەردوونەوە نزیک بێ، لە ئینسانەکانی ترەوە نزیک بێ، ئەوەندە باشتر دەتوانێت سەقامگیری دروستکە.
And they are all telling us, as much as human being is getting closer to his own or her own spirit, soul, to nature, to the other human being, as much as they can bring stability for themselves and the others as well.
من نامەوێت کاتی بە نرخی وەرەستان بگرم.
I would not like to take much more than that from your valuable time, actually.
باسی بەرهەمەکان بکەم کە زیاتر لە 25 کتێبمان هەیە.
And I'm not going to mention the projects that I have been thankfully working on, which are about 25 projects.
دەیان توێژینەوەمان لە ژۆرناڵە جیاجیەکان هەیە.
And around tens of research in the journals.
نامەوێت باسی کاری سیاسی و ئیداری بکەم.
I would not like to touch upon my political and administrative roles, actually.
چونکە نامەوێت ڕۆڵی کولتور و ئەدەب بەڕاستی تێکەڵ بە هیچی تر بکەم، چونکە ڕۆحێکی پاکە.
Because I don't like to mix the spirit of culture with anything else, because it's a pure soul, actually.
تەنیا بێتم لەگە شارەکەی من سلێمانی شارێکە خاوەنی شارستانێتێکی پۆڵە و مێژووی بۆ 10,000 ساڵ بۆ پێش زاوی نەگەڕێتەوە.
Just I would like to mention that my city is an ancient region, as a region that goes back to more than 10,000 years and has got a long history back.
تا ئەوەی ئاسەوانی خاوەندەکانی هندستانی لە وڵاتەکەی ئەمە لە ناوچەی گەرمیان تا ئێستا بە شاخەکانەوە هەن.
Even until now, there are some archaeological sites and pieces that belong to Indian people and that are carved on our mountains, still in Kurdistan.
ئێستێرەنێری پەنجاتی میکشتنینی نێودەوڵەتی لە سلێمانی کرۆپشتنینەکە بۆ ئاسوارەکان.
And so far, there have been more than 50 international teams excavating for archaeological sites and findings.
مۆزەخانەی نیشتیمانی سلێمانی لە این ساڵا لە هەوڵی ئەوەیە پێش مۆزەخانەی نیشتیمانی بەغاش بکرێت.
Sulaimaniah National Museum this year is just competing with Baghdad Museum, which is the first in Iraq.
وەکو شارێکی تازە شارەکەی لە ساڵی 1784 دروست کراوەتەوە.
And as a new city, my city, the city center, has been established newly in 1784.
لە سەرەتایە لەسەر دەمەگا زگانی و پیشەسازی و ڕۆشنبیری دروست کراوە.
At the beginning, it has been established on 3 pillars: commerce, industry, and culture.
دوایی ڕەگەزە حەزاری تازەکانی وەکو پەروەردە و فێرکردن و هونەرە جوانەکان و ئامادەیی و بەشداری کارای ژنان بۆ زیاد کراوە.
And later on, 3 more pillars have been added to it, which is fine arts and education and the role and presence of women.
شارێکی من شارێکی کراوەیە.
My city is an open city,
هەموو کەسێک قوبوڵەکە.
accepting everyone.
بە درێژایی مێژوو شەڕی ئاینی و مەزەبی لە شارەکەی مەیاوی نێناوە.
Throughout the long history, thankfully, there were no religious fighting in our city or sectarian religious fightings.
هەموو ئاین و ئایدۆلۆژیاکان بە ئازادانە ممارەسەی تخوسی دینی و فکری خۆیانەکەن.
And all religious practitioners and religions have been seen there in this city so far freely, and they were practicing their rituals.
دەورێکی گرنگی لە بڕیاردان لە عێراق و کوردستان هەیە.
And it has got a great role to do in decision making in Iraq and Kurdistan.
تا ئەوەی لە سەد ساڵی ڕابردووە لە سەردەمی میزەکانەوە تا ئێستا ئەو قسەیان دووبارە کردوتەوە کە بڕیارێک
سليماني قبولي نكا قابل جبهة كردنا به and it has been repeated frequently throughout the last century that if a decision would be made in Iraq and will not be accepted in Sulaimani, so it cannot be applicable realistically. أمشى رئيس بايتختي روشنبيري عراق وريني كردستان. Sulaimani city is the capital of culture right now in Kurdistan region and Iraq. وشاري داهنري أدبية لليونسكو. And it's a UNESCO creative city of literature right now. وزوي عاملة لعهد الدولي والتعطي الجديد. It's an active member of the covenant of players in the European Union. انضم إلى مؤتمر دولي وسياحي طبي. It's a member in the regional international medical touristic conference. لبواري ببردة in education, تندرستي, health, وزين renewable energy, بيشسازي, industry, بازرگاني, commerce, شتوكات, agriculture, جنگا, environment, شالواني, municipalities, culture, culture. يكمل سلاسة عراق. We have been regarded as to be top all over the Iraqi provinces. إيوه برأس كلينا دانشون. Your Excellencies that are right now here, thankfully, have got your fingerprint in making Sulaimani the top historically. Our medical field has been opened at the beginning with the hand of your specialists from India. Our industrial side and field has been nurtured by your specialists as Indians. Culture as well. Agriculture as well, sorry. And tourism as well. And all the other sectors. And there's a good number of Indian people right now humbly serving in my country in different specialities and positions. كردستان لخدمتي أبين وأبطاني دام ودزقا كالتوري وهنري وزانستيكاني يمشغل بينا. And from here I would like to invite and hold in heart anyone, any excellency of you to visit us and to eyewitness our cultural and artistic and even scientific institutions, hopefully in the future. من ضمنيات أنا كمولا عندي نزيك عشان كتابة بسبب جوية دليل قوم أنا خينا بردسي بارستان بزماني إنجليزي زمان كان يتيج. And hopefully in a close future we will present a bunch of our books in English and Kurdish, hopefully talking about our history and literature into your excellencies and libraries and other sectors in arts and literature. And through that I would like to introduce our heritage in those sectors. And what's the quality of them? Because the time will not help me to touch upon all those great figures in our history that presented something valuable to us and humanity. Once more, thank you so much. And thanks for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Abubaker. I think let us introduce themselves, our eminent personalities present here. I think one by one they can introduce. No?
Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Governor Mr. Abubaker, I heard in your speech about the universities you mentioned, and also the subjects which are taught in your universities. You have the best university, the University of Sulaimani, isn't it? That is the best. And there you have science, you have medicine, you have environment and other things. But in your speech also, you said you love Indian art and literature. But I will hope that you will introduce Indian studies in the university. And ICCR is always ready to help you in this matter.
It's a great recommendation for us. Actually, a great deal of studies have been done on we call it structure of Indian works in Kurdistan.
You have a great enrollment of 4,000 compared to your population. It is a very good enrollment. But I hope that something should be done about it.
Yeah, I wish you could go there. Thank you. Absolutely. That's a great advice.
There is Professor Indranath Chaudhary, he is a former secretary of Sahitya Akademi, and he was also a director of Indian Center in London. I think one by one you can introduce yourself. Just mention your name and also in language. He writes in Hindi and Bengali and English. All three languages, right? Yeah.
Excellent speech on Rup Krishna Bhattacharya in Kashmiri language, a translator, writer, and linguist. That was she did the Academy Professor.
Welcome, Dr. Abubaker. Thank you very much for your speech. And I have read some novels by young Kurdish writers, and I think the pain and suffering that has gone through, that has been expressed in those novels, the young Christian writers, though there are very good poets also, I would not mention about the poets, but I think as Professor Indranath Chaudhary said just now, we must have some Hindi literature or literature from other languages translated through English in Kurdish. And I am a Hindi and Kashmiri writer. I write in Hindi and Kashmiri. I translate, and I have made some documentaries also. And I am associated with the media for the last 35, 37 years. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellency, good evening. My name is Professor Suresh Rituparna. I was a professor in Delhi University, and then I went to Tokyo University of Foreign Studies for 10 years. I taught Japanese people in the Hindi teacher there. And for some time, I was a diplomat in Trinidad and Tobago also. I also worked as the Jawaharlal Nehru Chair of Military Studies in Mauritius. And nowadays, I am the director of K.K. Birla Foundation, a leading foundation of India. Thank you very much.
Good evening. This is Dr. Khurshid Alam, a fiction writer in Urdu, translator in Hindi, Urdu, vice versa, and ex-employee of this organization, Sahitya Akademi, program officer, Sahitya Akademi. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Rajnikant Shukla, Hindi children writer.
Namaskar. I am Sultan Sharma. I associated with the Akashwani here for 40 years. I write in Hindi, poetry, Sanswara, and children's also.
Namaskar. I am Devik Ramesh. Devik Ramesh is my pen name. I write poetry and prose also. And I am known as children author too. I have been visiting professor in South Korea through ICCR. And I happened to meet one of my Iraqi friends, who was also a professor, Mr. Enad Ismail. And through him, I enjoyed the flower tea, this red tea. And also I came to know about a legend folk singer known as Kulthum. Yeah. And later on I wrote a poem dedicated to Iraq also. I belong to Delhi University. I taught there for many years and retired as principal of the college. And about 80 books are to my credit in different journals. And the works have been translated into many Indian languages and world languages. If you don't mind, I would like to present my book and especially that poem which is dedicated to Iraq. I would like to add only last one sentence that long back I read 2 poems in Hindi, Iraqi poems translated in Hindi. Poems belong to Muhammad Qasim and Akram Fadil. And long back, these Hindi translations were published in one of the very prominent magazines in India, Leher. So that issue is not available easily. So those ones are with me. But I would like to request the Sahitya Akademi special that if possible, the translation of Iraqi poetry must be done and published by Sahitya Akademi. I would like to be part of that project. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Your Excellency. I'm Bharat Tiwari, an interior designer by profession and a writer and a photographer by passion. It was wonderful listening to you at India's premier Academy of Languages, that is Sahitya Akademi. I could understand one word in your speech, that was Tandurusti. And which stands for health in our languages also. So wish you the best of Tandurusti. Thank you.
There are many words.
Namaste, I am Umesh. I have been a banker and I usually write in Hindi, lyrics, poems and criticism. And I have also interested in reading poems from Iraq, from various areas. Your writers I like. Okay.
Good evening, I am Mahesh Darpan, Hindi fiction writer, editor and a journalist from India. Now I am retired and writing at my residence. I heard you with my heart. I am a big fan of Khalil Gibran, so I need another Khalil Gibran from time.
Good evening, Your Excellency. This is Professor Deepthi Tripathi, former head of the Department of Sanskrit at Delhi University and also the director of the National Manuscript Mission in the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. I was extremely excited to hear the name of Panini from you because basically I am a student of Paninian grammar and I have been working for ages to develop a model of universal grammar based on Panini. So this mention of Panini from you made me really very happy and very excited and probably gave me more impetus to work towards a universal model of grammar that I have been working on for the past several decades. Thank you very much indeed.
Good evening. I am Professor Haval Abubaker, formerly the Vice Chancellor of Central University of English and Foreign Languages, Hyderabad. I was also a professor at the University of Delhi. I write in Hindi. I also have compiled the latest dictionary, English Hindi dictionary, 1900-page dictionary, 3 years back. I am a fan of the struggle of Kurdish people all over the world. I admire their courage, their bravery, and their will to survive and fight for their freedom. Thank you.
I am Dr. Harshin Paul. I am retired from All India Radio. I authored 80 books and fiction, poetry, folk literature, and now I am the chief editor of the Soul magazine published from New York, America. And my especially emphasis to preserve the folk literature of any region of the world, and it must be instructed and translated to the various languages. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. My name is Rakesh Pandey. I write in Hindi. I compile 3 books on Mahatma Gandhi ji and my work on Indian diaspora. And I edited a magazine, Processor, New Processor. Thank you.
Namaskar, I am Rakhi Thakur. I am a filmmaker and I work actively with government for the promotion of culture, for the promotion of language, literature, and also put together Bhasha series, which is a language series. I also write poetry. Welcome to our country. And we hope that we'll be able to collaborate better and also do films and an exchange of films with your country.
I am Prem Kumari Srivastav, Professor of English from Delhi University. It was a pleasure to listen to you, Mr. Haval Abubaker, and also a pleasure to know that you have researched in modern literature and journalism. Modern literature is my area, and I've been reading a lot about exile writers from Iraq. I dabble in indigenous, tribal and Adivasi literature. From the past 35 years of my career, I've been dealing with the other, with marginalized. And recently, I also translate from Hindi to English, and I won a Sahitya Akademi prize. And I recently also published a book on oral traditions and tribal expressions, thanks to Sahitya Akademi. So I would really be interested in knowing a lot about the underprivileged, marginalized and tribal and Adivasi traditions of Kurdish, your county and your country. Very happy to be here and very happy to be listening to you. Thank you so much.
I am Krishna, Your Excellency, an employee of Sahitya Akademi, and I am pleased to listen to your brief but brilliantly all-encompassing and warm address. Really pleased. Thanks a lot. And in line with Tiwari, I am pleased also for finding that so many words in your language are in common with many of Indian languages. It was a lovely experience listening to you. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Neetu. The train of civilizations that goes years ago, and the path that your country has taken, and the path that we have taken, and to the same peace that you look forward to, the same mingling of cultures that you look forward to. It is good to see a meeting of mind, a meeting of hearts, and we hope to build together a better world together with you. I take this opportunity to present a copy of my book to you. I've come here for the video for myself.
Excellency Dr. Haval Abubaker and also Haval Abubaker. Excellency, we welcome to our country, India, and we have good relations with Iraq. I have been working in many fields, primarily in sanitation sector, water, but also I have studied English literature, and I compose some poems sometimes. So I will recite for you one poem which I wrote for our previous Prime Minister, I will read both in English and Hindi. And for English for you, what happened that I started giving Honest Man of the Year award to many people. And the former Prime Minister of India, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, was today one of the recipients. So he agreed to receive the award. But when it came to receive, all the government agencies objected to it, that he cannot receive an award from the NGO because you are the Prime Minister of the country. So they were in a fix, but he decided to receive the award. He came and received the award. Certainly money, he said, you can take for the purposes. So there I composed a poem for him. And I did for our friends in India first. And also I have an English translation for you.